Liverpool boss Arne Slot rejects weird transfer reaction. With Sunderland comment, Arne Slot conceded that Liverpool are favourites for the Premier League title, but hit back over their spending. Arne Slot has acknowledged that Liverpool are favourites to win the Premier League title, but he insists it's not about the money they've spent. The Reds have been big spenders this summer, with their expenditure nearing £300 million and more expected. However, the reigning champions have already recouped nearly £150 million in player sales. With more exits anticipated before the transfer window closes, Slot stated, "If you won it last season, it's quite normal that you are part of the favourites again for next season. For me, it would not be normal if it's about spending, because the net spend of us compared to the other teams is not in our favour. If you look at the last 2 seasons, but it's completely normal that we are one of the favourites, because we won it last season, and we brought in good players, like all the other ones did, by the way." Last summer, Liverpool only spent £10 million on Federico Chiesa, while they earned more from player sales. They're poised to break the British transfer record with a £116 million deal for Florian Wirtz. While Alexander Isak would cost at least £120 million from Newcastle this summer, Arsenal have splashed out close to £200 million this summer, whilst bringing in merely £9 million, while Manchester United's pursuit of Benjamin Sesko will push their expenditure to the £200 million threshold with no income from departures as yet. Manchester City have invested £151 million during the summer window, but also made significant January outlays, generating £42 million from sales this transfer period. Meanwhile, Chelsea have also exceeded £200 million in spending, but have recouped over £100 million through player sales, Slot remarked. "This is the Premier League. This is what makes this league so nice. I think there's only been one exception who didn't spend big in the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and that's been Liverpool last season. Sunderland is spending money as if they have a lot of money, of course, because they're promoted. So that is what happens in the Premier League. That's why it is such a nice league. So if we are only favourites because we've spent a bit, I would see that as weird, because we've lost a lot as well. But that we are favourites because we won it last season and we played so well, that's clear. And the ambitions haven't changed, because the ambition of this club is always to compete for every trophy." Slot kept his cards close to his chest regarding the chase for Isak and the possibility of securing an attacking reinforcement, though they stand prepared to make substantial investments should the Newcastle striker become available. With defensive reinforcements also under consideration, Liverpool plot more transfers as Arne Slot admits Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike doubts. Liverpool have splashed the cash in this summer's transfer window as they look to defend their Premier League title. Liverpool have already splashed out £300 million in the current transfer window and are set to spend even more before it closes. However, head coach Arne Slot confessed that he won't be able to judge whether they've improved their squad until the new signings have fully settled in and all business is concluded on September 1st. The Dutchman doesn't question the quality of the new recruits but acknowledges that adapting to English football and its physical demands will be a challenge. Liverpool have signed striker Hugo Ekitike for £79 million, attacking midfielder Florian Wirtz for potentially up to £116 million, versatile defender Jeremy Frimpong for £29 million, left-back Milos Kerkez for £40 million, and goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili for £30 million. However, they have seen key players depart, with Luis Diaz joining Bayern Munich in a £65 million deal and right-back Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving after his contract expired. Darwin Núñez is expected to move to Al Hilal, while defender Jarl Quansah has joined Bayer Leverkusen and reserve goalkeeper Coam Hin Kelleher has moved to Brentford. They also suffered the tragic loss of Diogo Jota in a car accident. Slot was familiar with the capabilities of all these players, so now he will be assessing what the newcomers can bring to the table ahead of Sunday's Community Shield match against Crystal Palace. When questioned about the strength of his squad, he responded, "That is something I can only tell you at the 1st of September, because the window is still 3 weeks open. So I do feel that the players we've brought in have done already really well, as expected, because that's why we brought them in. But I cannot tell you now if these players are able to perform at the same level every 3 days. Therefore, we first Have to start the season to see. And I did know that Luis Diaz was able to do that, and all the other ones were able to do that. So that is another challenge at the Premier League, because we play so many games, and for Milos Kerkez, it's going to be his first time probably. That at this level, he might have to play every 3 days. Florian Wirtz comes from the Bundesliga, where he was used to playing every 3 or 4 days. But we have to ask him in 2 months if the intensity levels of the Premier League are comparable with the Bundesliga, so there are multiple factors you need to take into account. But again, I am really happy with the players we've brought in. But we've also lost starters that have had a big impact on our title-winning season last year. It clearly frustrates Slot that Liverpool's expenditure is receiving more attention than the departures they have endured during this transfer window. He believes the club is simply replacing and rebuilding rather than strengthening the squad that cruised to Premier League glory last season, what I feel is not being talked about enough, although you have to make your own decision when you talk about it, is that I've lost 4 players that have started regularly, said Slot. And one of them, we his family, lost him. That's Diogo. Then Darwin might be on the verge of leaving. Luis Diaz was a definite starter, and Trent Alexander-Arnold was a definite starter. So normally in the Premier League, teams only buy and never sell. We do both. We lost players in a good phase of their career. I'm used to that, and it sometimes gives new energy as well.